Well, welcome back to another episode of Paint Society, the channel where the learning doesn't stop when the video ends. Today, well, we're going to be going over the Iwata Kiwami, one of the most questioned guns on the internet right now. We're going to see how does it perform, is it worth the $200? Now, as it sits, this gun is in and around 200 bucks on Amazon. Now, this, as far as I know, replaces the Iwata Bel Air, the classic, and well, prices on that skyrocketed to around $400, and these are being marketed around $200. Well, probably to be a little bit more desirable. And I believe this gun is developed in Japan, so some of the Amazon buyers may have got a hold of it in the States, and it is listing for very, very cheap, making it very desirable to have an Iwata for around $200 that looks and functions hopefully just like an LPH. Well, we'll determine that on this episode. Comparing it to the other Iwatas, the LPH 400 and the W 400, it's got a little bit smaller grip size, is a little bit tinier, and a touch lighter than these guns, but still it has the same makeup, the same look. We got our fluid here, our fan up top, and then we have our air adjustment at the bottom. I ordered it with a 1.3, and it comes with the, looks like the BA4J air cap, so we'll see how that delivers the air, how it atomizes the air. And we have it outfitted with a S43 PPS adapter and an Iwata regulator. We'll put this in the description for you. So I'm trying to test out these new paint guns on something worthwhile, not just one or two panels. But guys, this is a whole side we have. We just finished cleaning it up. We have some of the racks and grease remover still flashing off. So this is gonna get base up into this area and into the fender area. We already went ahead and we fixed a couple areas and primed them black. You're not going to be able to see them on camera. So let's get spraying the base now, and we'll see how well it sprays, and we'll see, do I recommend this $200 gun? Is it good for a hobbyist? Is it good for the professional sprayer? I'll give you my professional opinion. Let's get started. We're going to check out the fan pattern, but first let me show you how to adjust it. I'm going to take this fan and I'm going to move this all the way to the left. I like a nice big fan, so all the way to the left. Now, if you have fluid in here, you're going to press the trigger so the fluid doesn't come out, and you're going to move this all the way in until it stops. So if it wasn't all the way backed out, back it up all the way before it comes out. Now it stopped, so that means it's wide open. What I'm going to do from this point is just move it in probably one turn right there. Make sure this is all the way out. This is your air. You don't want to restrict that. For an Iwata, I like to run it around 25, 26 PSI, right around there. We have about 6 inches from the wall. Take a look at the pattern, okay? Nice, even pattern. Now let's compare this to like a W400. Now this is a W400, similar to the classic Bel Air, but it's not. So I'm going to show you right now. We can see the difference right here, okay? W400, Kiwami, huge difference, okay? We'll do another one. Straighten out my air cap a little bit. Okay, do you guys see the difference here? So that's what you're getting. When you're getting a little bit more of a budget spray gun, you're gonna get a budget fan pattern. But let's still see if we can get it to work. So a little bit of a smaller fan pattern, but not a big deal. What we're gonna do is we'll do our 2 panels and then we'll blend it out. This is black metallic, it'll blend effortlessly. First coat, see how it goes on a little bit medium wet, all right? That will flash off. That's exactly what you want. Now, yeah, this pattern is a little bit smaller than the W400, but it really didn't affect too much on the spraying. Like, unless you really showed me the pattern on the wall, I don't know if I would really know it had a smaller pattern, but usually you'll find that out when you get to clear. So this will only take about 2 more coats. I'll let this flash off for about a good 5-10 minutes, and then I'll pop on a couple more coats. right, so I just finished that coat. Now I'm gonna tile it back probably like 12 inches. I just do an orientation coat. It's already covered. And that's it. So what we'll do now is to allow this to flash off, and then we'll get into the clearing. It's that easy. Guys, I will say the booth does make things easier. Let's not lie to you. But you know, this page is for do-it-yourselfers and professionals, and the rules will still apply for the gun and how well it sprays. Right now, it's easy to hold in my hand. It's delivering the paint to the panel. It's atomizing well. You gotta consider 200 bucks. You know, these are the things we think about. Can I get a professional style gun for 200 bucks? I mean, that's relatively cheap for me. You know, that's what I would consider a pretty budget gun. A budget gun's not 35, 40, 50 bucks. That's just gonna fall apart on you and make your life harder. So this is what flashing looks like. You see how it's turning to dull? Now, the reason why we're not putting any paint here is because this paint matches the hood. And although we do have a color match, we want to keep it away as far as we can. So this is doling up. How do you know when it's ready to paint? Well, give it about a good 15, 20 minutes and it should all look pretty uniform. So let's allow this to flash off. Well, I got my gun all cleaned out, and as that base finish is drying, let's talk real quick about guns. Now, the biggest question I get, Brian, is what is the best gun I can get for a budget? And as I just mentioned to you earlier, your guns are your investments. Now, anyone that is a do-it-yourselfer, I'm going to tell you something. You're a do-it-yourselfer, you're going to be into it. I mean, a lot of us just start getting into paint and I'm like, I just want to buy cheap stuff. But as soon as you start spraying paint, I mean, you can't put down a gun. This is one of the best trades ever. It's the most fun, most rewarding. And I'm going to tell you something. If you got the right equipment, if you spend a little bit more, then it's going to be a lot easier for you. I would hate for you to get discouraged not having the right product or the right tool and say, well, you know, this painting thing is not for me. Because the job of me as your coach and as your teacher is to inspire you. And that's what these videos are for. So keep that in mind as we move forward to clear. We have our clear all mixed up. I have a good amount here. And we're going to spray 2 coats. We'll allow about 10 minutes in between coats because that's what my technical data sheet says. That's the TDS, which you can find online for any of the products that you spray. Just simply type it in online. Let's go over to start clearing. And this is how we know it's ready. It's got a nice flashed off appearance. And if we run our tack rag over, it's nice and soft. There is no overspray on this. Usually you'll find the overspray right here. So this is a good indication that this is going to be a nice, clean job. So what we'll do is we'll just gently run it over. You don't want to dig this in. A lot of guys will say, oh, but it has a residue. We got to get the right ones. I'll put this in the description, all right? These are for automotive use, all right? These are not the ones you just get at Walmart. I'm not digging into it. I'm just running it over. And I'll pick up any sort of last second lint that may have came off of me or that's kind of still traveling in the booth somehow. So this is pretty much good to go. I'm visualizing a beautiful finish. So let's do our best right now and let's start spraying our clear. Just finished laying down that first coat. Let's take a look. I will say I had to do a little bit of adjustment there. I had to raise the pressure up a little bit just because I felt it wasn't making the droplets small enough. Now, it looks pretty good. The first coat I'm not going crazy on, but it's got a good texture. I want orange peel texture in there. I want the factory texture in there. Otherwise, it's not gonna look like it's OEM. Looks pretty good, a little bit dry here. I'm not concerned about that right now. The second coat, I'll make sure I go over that. You don't wanna lay it down too much on the first coat. If I were to go back over this, I'm by the gas edge, I'm by that line, I'm by the door handle. I don't wanna get any edge buildup. So let this flash off for 10 minutes. It's gonna get like glue. That second coat we can lay in a little bit better, but hey guys, yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it looks really good. I mean, it was a little bit effortless. Could have used a bigger fan pattern, but with a narrow fan pattern, you can kind of keep a little bit better, tighter passes. You kind of see what you're doing. Sometimes with that larger fan pattern, it gives you a little bit of trouble because it does cover so much area. So we'll allow us to flash off for 10 minutes and then we'll come back. We're ready to spray that second coat. Just a couple quick tips on how I spray, like the direction. Some things you might not notice that actually are taking place is our exhaust is right here and our intake is up here. Now, it does not matter that we have a booth. If you have a homemade booth at home, you need some sort of exhaust to pull that fumes out. So you want to make sure that when you're spraying, right, I'm starting at the back and all my fumes are moving towards the front, right? I don't want to start in the front and it's just working against me because all that overspray is going here and I just keep covering it up, keep covering it up, keep covering it up. You notice how I started with the back, right? And then I brought it to around here. I never stop at the edge. That's how you get your buildup on your edge. And then I came here on a second coat and I did from here to about here. And then I did from here to here. Some guys can do the whole entire car. I'm not that good. That's not the way I do it. There's no rules here. You do it the way you want. You do want to do it from the bottom to the top. You want to do it from the top to the bottom. In my opinion, it makes no difference. Weigh in the comments. Let me know if you see a dramatic difference by doing it from bottom to top. I know a lot of guys have a lot of opinions on that matter. It's time to set up the second coat. Let's turn up the beats and let's get rolling. Just finished laying down that second coat. Now the gun performed very well and the clear matters as well too. So if you get a nice clear, well, the gun is just gonna help aid in getting that clear to the panel and breaking it up. And of course the painter has a little bit to do with that. Now, a while back I did talk to you about the Iwata Rdx, which was a very cheap alternative. I think it was around 130 bucks. It's still a good gun. However, with this around 200 bucks, I'm gonna pick this every time. Now, I do know that, my words and my opinion weigh very heavily on you guys, so you take it from heart. So I wouldn't recommend a gun that I wouldn't use. I gotta say, for 200 bucks, I would buy this gun 2 or 3 more times, just because the ease of it, the ease of delivery, how effortless it really was. And it's not too heavy. It's kind of a smaller paint gun compared to those big old ones, and I think it will probably be good for the hobbyist too, because it's just more of a natural feel. You get a couple fingers on a trigger and you're good to go. So I definitely do recommend it. I haven't got a chance to try the Bel Air, I know the older gun, this is the 4, so I believe this replaced it. But if you guys want to check it out, I'll leave the link in the description. For 200 bucks, it showed up on my doorstep the next day, and I'm already spraying a car with it. Good for the hobbyist and the professional as well. So what we're gonna do is we'll check out the finish, and then I'll get this thing all unwrapped, and I'll show you it getting all back together and get it out of here and back to the customer. Guys, this is Brian from Paint Society reminding you, don't overthink it. It's just paint. Let's get this thing wrapped up.